Hi, and welcome back to Game Nights at Gary's. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a cute little title from Deepwater Games called Monsdrawsity. In Monsdrawsity, you play one of two roles. You're either going to be A hopefully reliable eyewitness, or B, a sketch artist working for the Department of Recording Anomaly Witnesses, or draw. Let's take a little deeper look and see what we can find. Okay, let's take a moment and check out the box here. Very, very colorful design. Detailed, very interesting character design. Most of the things you see are close enough to something that you can almost describe it just from looking at it. Let's crack this box open and see if we can check out some of the components inside. Right off the bat, we're going to see these dry erase markers here. Great big old package that came with it. Not super high quality, but they're more than suitable for what you need it for in the game. We have a dry erase scoreboard here. You can write everyone's chosen name there and then tally up the number of points they get throughout the game. We have the Monsdrawsity rulebook here. Not a ton of pages, but there's not a ton of rules in the game, so it's not like they need a great big old novel. Right here we have a plethora of dry erase boards. You can see some of them are quite dirty. My play group has gotten our use out of the game already. We have two stacks of cards here, one with this nice little stop sign over it. This stack I have not seen. They want you to only use each card once until you've been through the deck. That way you don't replay the same monsters and burn yourself out of it. We'll take a couple of these, try and get a closer look. I don't want to spoil all of them for you guys, but a few won't hurt. So we have this weird little chubby owl thing. To me it looks kind of like a weasel on meth. Some kind of Cronenberg monstrosity here. Weird fey goblin cat thing. I don't know, there's quite a bit of different designs. There's not too many cards I've seen that I think look alike or look enough that you could confuse them. But quite a few different options, quite a lot of replayability there. Now that we have taken a peek at the components here, let's go over some of the rules. One of the things I like most about Monsdrawsity is how quick it is to get a new player into the game without having to teach them much of anything. You're going to pass everyone a whiteboard and a dry erase marker and ask who has most recently seen a monster movie. Whoever the lucky person is going to be the first witness, and they're going to draw a card. For our example, we'll go with Meth Weasel here. They're going to look at that card for 20 seconds and try and memorize everything they possibly can about it. After the 20 seconds, they're going to put it down, and they're going to have 2 minutes to describe it to the rest of the players, who during this are going to draw. They can say something as simple as, "It looks like a weasel on meth," but that's not doing anybody any favors. So they're going to say stuff like, "It is bipedal. It has a body kind of like a sack of flour. It has a tail kind of like a raccoon that's striped. A tuft of hair around its neck. It has an oblong head with a triangle-shaped snout. It's got big bug eyes that looks like it's tweaking out." Stuff like that that'll help everyone hopefully draw something that resembles what their card says. At the end of the 2 minutes, the witness is going to take their dry erase board. They're going to write the number of the player whose illustration is closest to what they have described. Then they're going to reveal the actual card. All the players get a chance to examine it and then vote amongst themselves on who they think was closest to what the monster actually looked like. After voting, whoever had the most votes gets a single point. Then you, as witness, get a chance to show your number to the rest of the players. If it matches who they chose, you also get a point. Play proceeds to the left with that person being a witness. You're going to go around the table with everyone describing 2 times, and then the game is over. And whoever has the most points wins. For gameplay this time around, we have a chance to do something a little different than normal, and I'm going to try and involve you guys as much as possible. So take a moment now, pause the video, and go get a dry erase board and marker, or pencil and paper, or whatever your chosen form of media is. And I'm going to try and describe something to you. I've got a timer on my phone for 2 minutes and 20 seconds. I'm going to review a card that I have never seen before for 20 seconds, and then try and describe it to you, and we'll see how close your drawing is to what I've actually described. So I'll start my timer now. Okay, this one seems like it should be fairly easy for me to describe. That is my 20 seconds. So it is a big slug thing. It has a horn coming off of like the back of its head and a horn coming off the top of its head. It has teardrop eyes, but the triangle part of the teardrops are pointing out to the left and right. Inside the teardrop eye, there is a circle on the inside. It's got a big toothy grin, big unibrow, kind of like you would see on All Might. It has like chitin plates, like snake abs, some people call them. It is coming out of the ground, so you only see the top half of it. Got a couple of little humps that connect to the main part of the neck that goes to the face. A few little spots. At this point, I've got a minute left. I've kind of ran out of things that I can think to describe. At this point, my players would start asking me questions about it. Is it looking left? Is it looking right? Does it have arms? Does it have feet? All of those are no. Otherwise, I would have said it already. I'm going to stop my timer with 30 seconds left because I can't think of anything else to tell you. And I will hold this card up, and you can decide how well I did. So this is the creature. Not sure how well I did there, but I'll let you be the deciding factor on that. And how about we take a look and we'll rate it now. As with my previous video, there are 8 categories that I grade my games on. The first one being rulebook clarity and how simple the rules are to understand. The second being if the game is mechanically sound and or intuitive. The third being the financial value. Then comes immersion, replayability, comparison to other titles in the genre, the value of your time invested, and the fun factor. We'll start with rulebook clarity. Monsdrawsity only has 4 pages of actual rules. I read almost all of them to you when I explained how to play the game. A running trend with Deepwater Games titles, they do a very good job of telling you step by step what you have to do to get into the game, and not a lot of extra fluff that's going to stop you or confuse you. You don't have to bounce back and forth. You just go from page 1 to page 2 to page 3 and start the game. Next up would be if the game is mechanically sound or intuitive. For the most part, I would say yes with Monsdrawsity. My only opposing viewpoint on that is most new players, when they play the game, have a habit of using their hands to describe, well, the monster had a head like this, or it was a snake that went like this. And for a good reason, the rules say you can't do that. But it's still something that your natural instinct fights against. So are the rules intuitive? For the most part, yes. But we'll say that one kind of hangs against it. For a value, I spent $20 on the game. I think you can honestly still get it at that point through most retailers. Expansions are, I believe, $8 for a handful of new cards of a different type, robots and cute creatures. Definitely worth the money in my opinion. For the immersion factor, you have 20 seconds to look at a card. You're not thinking that you're playing a game at that point. You're doing your best to just memorize this thing because you know it's going to get hectic in the next 2 minutes. If you're drawing, those 2 minutes are hectic yourself. If you're anything like me, I don't have a lot of artistic talent. I panic every time I have to draw. Yet, during those 2 minutes, I'm asking questions and fully in the game, just trying to get it as detailed and as correct as possible. For replayability factor, there are a lot of cards that come with the game. They suggest you only use each one once. So assuming you're playing with the same exact group every time, it'll take you a while to burn through that deck. When it's done, they then have an advanced game mode where the witness isn't allowed to just spout information freely. The sketch artists have to question them, and that's all the information that the witness can offer. Seems like that would add almost infinite replayability to me, but I'm not there, so I can't really judge based on that. Comparing to other titles in the genre, that's a hard one to really grade on. I've never played another game that I can say is in the same genre as this. It's definitely an unexplored niche, and it thrives on its own. Time investment is very, very solid for this game. The box says it's going to take you 20 minutes. It also says that it goes from 3 to 8 players. That 20 minutes, I would say, is an average, with it being 2 minutes and 20 seconds to look at a card and draw it. Double that for each player. Minimum, you're looking at 5 minutes per player. I'm going to say it's probably closer to 10 by the time players discuss who had the best and vote. But even if you spend an hour playing it, it's time well spent, considering it only takes a few moments to get the cards out, pass out the whiteboard and the dry erase markers, and start playing. For the fun factor, I've never played this game with a group of people and not seen everybody smiling and laughing and just deep belly laughs, enjoyment. It's just an incredible game, especially for kids. And with that being said, one of the things I had an issue with when I first got it is I'm not an artist, and I panic every time I have to draw something, especially if it's something other people are going to see. But that really doesn't matter with this game. More so than drawing skills, your listening skills are what's important. I've taken more points than I care to admit with a very, very poor drawing just because I had the monster in the right pose or the right shape, where everyone just else kind of ad-libbed what they needed to do. As this episode comes to an end, I would like to offer just a few parting thoughts. If you happen to be watching this video shortly after it comes out, Deepwater Games does actually have an active Kickstarter right now for, I don't want to call it a remake, but there is another base set of Monsdrawsity coming out that has the base game that I showed and some upgraded mechanics like having to look at the monster card from across the room, stuff like that that would just kind of add modifiers to the gameplay. I know they do have quite a few stretch goals that are knocked out, offering some really cool stuff. So if it's a game you're interested in, maybe check out the Kickstarter while it's still active. Support a smaller company. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully I will see you in the next episode. And if there's anything you would like me to tackle in a future episode, reach out and I will see what